Hey everybody, Mike Iaconelli back out here in the shop. And I want to talk to you today about hook modifications on suspending jerkbaits. You know, suspending jerkbaits are one of my favorite lures to fish when the water gets cold. Late fall, wintertime, and early spring, these things can be killers. But I want to talk to you about tricking these things out to catch more fish. And you don't need a drill. You don't need suspend strips. You don't need any kind of fancy tackle. We can change the motion and action of these suspending jerkbaits simply by altering the terminal tackle on this bait. And when I'm talking about terminal tackle, I'm talking about the hooks, and I'm talking about the split rings. By changing that stuff, we can get the bait to do different things. Also, we can change the motion of that bait by using two different types of line, depending on what we want to get that bait to do. Let me start with how I break suspending jerkbaits down. I break them down into true suspenders, which catch a lot of fish. But the two categories, and this is the trick, this is the one guys don't want to talk about, is slow rising or slow sinking jerkbait. So not true suspenders, but sinking real slow or rising real slow. And we're going to use the hooks, the terminal tackle, and the line to get those baits to do that. Start with just one of my favorite little finesse jerkbaits and talk to you about those two motions and how we can get the Rapala ripstop, which is a little finesse jerkbait that's a true suspender, how we can get that thing to change action just by changing hooks. And start with this one. This is one that I have modified, and I've changed the terminal tackle on this to get it to do something a little different. This bait, if you notice, I actually downsized my hooks on this bait. So I think this bait, if you look at it out of the box, I think it comes with 2 number 6s on it. I went down to number 8s on the front and back. The other thing I did to this bait, if you look at it, is I changed the split ring to 2 sizes smaller on that bait. I put a real little tiny split ring on that. If you're not a split ring guy, you can also make the same modification with snap swivels by going up or down. So by going smaller in my hook size, by going smaller on my split ring size, and finally, by using this thing on not fluorocarbon, but on monofilament, light monofilament, 4, 6, 8 pound Berkeley Sensation monofilament, I'm going to get this bait to slowly rise. The conditions I want for a slow rising suspending jerkbait are prevalent conditions that are improving, okay? So if you've got cold water, but the water temperature's going up, you've got 2 or 3 warm days in a row, there's a rising water temperature. For an example, the water temperature has been 42 degrees all week. But now, all of a sudden, after a couple days of warming, your water temperature's up to 44 degrees. I want a nose up, slow rising jerkbait. In general, mid 40s to mid 50s, I prefer a nose up, slow rising jerkbait. I'm going to show you this thing in the tank and show you what I mean. Here we go. This has got smaller hooks, smaller split ring on monofilament. Watch the action of this bait in the tank. And you're going to see when I stop it, look at that. Nose up, slowly rising to the surface. I'll show you it again. Jerk it. Nose up. Watch it. Watch how slow it rises. Slowly rising to the surface. Warming temperatures in the wintertime, cold water, warming temperatures, or mid-40s to mid-50s. A nose up, slow rising bait. But there's the other one. The second half to this equation is, what about when the water temperature's falling or the water temperature's really cold? Okay, so now that same scenario, the water temperature's been 40 degrees, you had a cold front come through, the water temperature's dropping. It's 38, 37, it's dropping water temperature. Or the water's just flat out cold. Low 40s to mid 30s. That's cold for a lot of people. If you're in Florida, you don't know what the heck I'm talking about. But cold water, I want a slow sinking, nose down jerkbait. I can take that same exact bait, Rapala ripstop, and now I'm going to upsize the hooks. I'm going to go from 2 6s to, look at that, I'm going all the way up to a 4 on the belly, and I'm going to a 5 on the tail. I've also, look at that split ring. I want to show you. I upsized the split ring. I went to a bigger, heavier split ring. Again, you could do the same thing with snaps by going to a bigger snap. And finally, instead of using monofilament, now I'm going to go to fluorocarbon. 4, 6, 8 pound Berkeley trilene, 100% fluorocarbon. And fluorocarbon is a denser line. So that's going to help me when I pull it and stop it. It's going to help me to get that nose down, slow sink motion that I want when the water's super cold or the water temperature is falling. Let's look at this one in the tank. Give you an idea of what I mean. Now, watch what happens when I stop this bait. You're going to see it. Let me get another one here. You're going to see it. Slowly sink. Watch this. Ready? Pause it. You see that nose down? Pause it. Nose down. Slowly sinking. Twitch. Put nose down. Slowly sinking toward the bottom. Those little modifications on those bait. Taking a true suspender, making it slowly rise or make it slowly sink, can get you so many more bites in the wintertime. I can't even tell you. The guys aren't talking about it. They'll be throwing that jerkbait. They won't say anything about it. But I'm telling you, you can do the same thing on full-size jerkbaits. Here's 2 of my other favorites. This is a great bait. This is a Rapala Shadow Wrap and a Rapala Shadow Wrap Shad. When I want to get this bait to slowly rise, I go with the Rapala Shadow Wrap Shad. I'll leave the factory hooks on it, except for the rear, and I'm going to go to that same size, which is on there. If you look at it, it's a number 6, but I'm going to add a feather to it, which is going to add a little buoyancy. I'm going to throw that on mono, and when I pause it, it's going to rise really slow, nose up. Shadow Wrap Shad rises nose up very slowly. But I'm going to do the reverse. On the regular Shadow Wrap, I'm going to upsize my hooks, especially the belly. I'm going to go all the way to a number 4 on the belly. And then on the 2 back hooks, I'm going to go 1 size up to number 5s. I'm going to increase the size of my split ring. And when I pause this one, slow sink, nose down. That little modification on your jerkbaits, and I don't care what brand you use, play with them in the tank, play with them in a bathtub, it doesn't matter. Get those baits to slowly rise for when the water temperature is rising, or mid-40s to mid-50s, or get that bait to slowly sink nose down when the water temperature is falling or the water temperature is just super cold. Try those modifications on your jerkbaits. Guarantee you're going to get more bites in cold water conditions. Mike Iaconelli from the shop.